Hola, ¿qué tal amigos del México Outdoor Film Festival? El día de hoy comenzamos nuestras entrevistas con los participantes que han presentado y están convocados a la convocatoria 2025 para ser parte de esta aventura en donde estaremos proyectando, presentando e informando los documentales que vamos a estar transmitiendo. Y esta noche justamente tenemos la plática con el director Junior Rodríguez, fotógrafo, director de este documental Across Together, The Return to Expeditions. ¿Cómo estás, Junior?
Muy bien, gracias Jorge por la invitación y we're super excited to be with Muff again.
Thank you very much. Recuérdanos, Junior, ¿de dónde te encuentras tú?
Yo vivo en Jackson Hole, Wyoming, pero mis papás son de México.
Muy bien. Oye, Across Together, este grupo, esta asociación, que ya nos platicarás un poco más a detalle, DACA, o el equipo de DACA, que son latinos que posiblemente tuvieron esta infancia de migración o de encontrarse dentro de territorios que, bueno, entre México y Estados Unidos siguen compartiendo, siguen todo el tema de tradiciones. Y bueno, esto me imagino que va transformando vidas, va transformando ideologías, formas de pensar. Nos mencionan que hicieron una expedición al punto más alto de México. Platícanos un poco de este documental, Across Together, The Return Expeditions, Junior.
Listo. Como dijiste en la introducción, el grupo son todos jóvenes, tienen entre 15 y 20 algo años. Entonces es un grupo em, muy mixed. Tenemos jóvenes que son DACA, tenemos indígenas de Nuevo México, tenemos inmigrantes, tenemos hijos de inmigrantes, tenemos latinos y cada uno de ellos están como que se están buscando y se quieren se quieren sanar en el medio ambiente.
Wow.
Y entonces el grupo empieza a aprender el mountainism y aprenden estas técnicas para poder ir a Pico de Orizaba, Citlaltépetl y para descubrirse durante este viaje. Y eso es lo que van a ver la gente.
Okay, what do you think if we talk in Spanish and English? Just because as well in New Mexico, they has to listen us in English.
Yeah, that's
Junior,
great.
tell us what happened with this crew. They made the summit. They how the process of these
Yeah,
young guys.
that's a spoiler alert if you want me to tell you about
Good.
how
Go
the
to
movie
see the
goes.
documentary at cinemas.
Yeah. Um, I mean, the process was over 10 months, right? They all applied to be a part of this. The program was originally called the Return Program, um, through the Semilla project. So it's really about Josué de Luna Navarro, que empezó, he started this, he had this idea to bring people to the highest point in North America, um, the tallest stratovolcano in Mexico. And he was trying to convince young people that these trips aren't just for white people, and it's going to transform you. It's going to help you figure out who you are inside. Like so many, just like a side story, real quick. Like when we went on the scouting, for the shoot to like figure out, like, is this possible? Like, how are we going to shoot like a group of young people in the high alpine, right? We're talking like over 16,000 feet. Um, But on that scouting trip, we did La Malinche
Okay.
con el Josué y el Joshua Jarín y otra amiga. and we also did Pico de Orizaba. Y cuando estábamos subiendo, me dijo, you know, you're the guinea pig, right? And like, you're kind of the test for is this possible? So that felt a little not weird, but I felt very cared for because he knows that you know, like I'm Chicano, so I was born over here, so there's always been like this disconnect, and he was trying to build a bridge through this experience for people like me to be able to reconnect with the motherland, essentially. Um, so that's what you're gonna see these young people do. And they all, you know, it's team, and every team member goes through a different process in their journey. And I think that's what's really gonna stick with people, and not so much did they make it or not, but like, wow, these people really transformed before my eyes.
Junior, tell us about what is DACA for the people who's watching us. What is DACA?
DACA is it's called the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It was a US immigration policy. To put it like really tight, it's for like essentially like kids that were brought over to the US by their parents. Um, and it was essentially a legal status that allowed them to stay in the US while the immigration system was supposed to be overhauled. But with the new administration, they've kind of shut that sort of route down. So now DACA recipients, like actually, I have a lot of friends that are DACA recipients, including, um, you know, some of the team members here that you'll see in the film. They're like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Um, and I think you're gonna see some of that tension and how it comes out in outdoor experiences. I think a lot of film, we were just talking about this earlier, like a lot of films I think show a very specific type of outdoor experience where, you know, like, oh, the hard thing is the mountain, and then you overcome the mountain, y se acabó. But I think you and I know, and I think a lot of people that will attend your festival understand that the mountain is just one element of an experience that we're trying to like utilize to heal sometimes. And I think that's what some of the group, which some of them are DACA recipients, are trying to figure out. So how does nature sort of provide an avenue for resilience, to find your own power, to really hang on to something when everything else seems to not be working?
Well, sounds like a good team. I think that this kind of activities they're going to increase because our community or people talk about it, and the access is already like a straight line. I try to say like we found how if made a team, we can practice with safety, with all the equipment, with all the necessary tops, with this kind of activities. And it's a pleasure to have you in this 2025 MOF. And as you listened to Junior, these members of the DACA team uh, brings a lot of effort to be there. So, no sé, algo más, Junior, que podamos sumarle. Platícanos, ¿tienen, aparte de la Malinche, hicieron otra escala aquí en México?
No, esas eran las dos, porque la Ixta tenía un fuego.
Mm.
Entonces, no íbamos a hacer la Malinche. Yo hice la Malinche en el scouting y luego cuando estábamos con el grupo, íbamos a hacer la Ixta, pero ya había una lumbre allá. Entonces nos fuimos para atrás para la Malinche. Entonces el equipo hizo la Malinche. Y todo el grupo no son de DACA.
¿Ok?
son nomás parte del grupo. También vamos a ver otros chicanos, vamos a ver unos indígenas que viven en Albuquerque, que es am, de donde es el grupo. Todos son de Nuevo México. Y van a encontrar un poco más del Josué, que es it was his brainchild, this thing. I think in the, synopsis somewhere, I think his like lower third says like group leader, right? Because he is essentially the leader, but he's like so much more than that, right? It was like his idea from the very beginning to try and bring people not only to the outdoors, but to reconnect with their roots.
Yeah, you
Uh,
told me that Josue is
Josue.
the producer about this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, he's also one of the executive producers, yeah. And
Okay.
he's essentially one of the stars as well, which is kind of funny. You never really see the executive producer being a star.
About this team, in the background, I say the filmmakers, the directors, executive producers, the narrative, because you translated to Nahuatl
Yes. Um,
and you make some work of colorist, sound design. Uh,
mhm.
how many people work in this project, more or less, Junior?
Oh, I mean, you just read that. I'd say that's a number that's not in my head. Hang on, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
Oh,
12,
it's like
maybe like
a lot.
20. Yeah, it's a just like the film people, like 20, and then plus you have the team itself, right, which is made up of 10, plus the chaperones that helped us on the ground, so that they could feel safe and they had someone to speak to. So yeah, it was like a really big team to be driving around, from La Ciudad to Veracruz to like all in like buses and um, yeah, it was a lot.
So tell us about the team, how they feel, here in Mexico. They eat a lot of food. I don't know how it's the experience to be like a Hispanic or like a Latam here in Mexico. How do you feel? I don't know. You in this travel. How do you think about this feeling of these guys?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't speak for all of them, but I think a lot of like you see some of their reactions. A lot of them it's their first time going to Mexico City. Um, a lot of them it's their first time like not seeing Mexico in a long time, and so that's a different experience. Um, and I think for the crew, I think when I was putting the team together on the filming side, I was really looking for people that shared what the participants were going through as well. This like identity crisis, like, am I Mexican? Am I Mexican enough? Like, ¿dónde se conecta? Estoy desconectado. So like people like the other cinematographer, Isabella, um, the the editor, Sergio, también son Chicanos, right? And they grew up over here, so they also felt like a disconnect with the motherland. And so, just trying to, and Vanessa Chavarriaga también, she was brought over as a kid to the US, so she understands that like disconnection from the motherland, and I think it helped a lot because when you have when you're one of these participants like doing this really hard mountain, right, learning all these new skills, plus you have these like strangers that are like pointing a camera at your face while you're doing this hard thing. Um, so I think it meant a lot that like they could see themselves and we could see ourselves in the group. And plus it also helps to like go to their trainings with them and see them consistently so they start to trust you. And um, yeah, and I think a lot of people are gonna get a nice kick out of the team porque se empezaron a abrir, right? You see their progression. In the beginning, they're kind of like shy, y luego al último, they're just going off in the camera.
All in.
Yeah, all in, exactly.
Well, sounds very, very nice documentary. Uh, Remember to the audition of this program, we are talking with Junior Rodriguez, director of the documentary Across Together, the Return Expedition. And tell us, Junior, uh, about filming in Citlatepetl or Pico de Orizaba, any kind of problem like I don't know, the camera and the battery of the shoots are dead. I don't know. Could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
tell us travel around all Mexico with all the team and the stuffs about production of the film. Tell us what happened in this expedition.
Yeah, I think we were all, me and Isabella and the other, and Vanessa, the field producer, we were chatting about, we were trying to figure out what's going to be the most efficient and effective, right? We don't want to slow the team down because they're already doing a hard thing. So the last thing we want to do is sort of get in the way of their experience. So taking like really the smallest sort of like cinema cameras that we could, try to use GoPros, bringing a really light drone, and being really like nimble, because like something, there's like two filmers, it's me and Isabella, and the group starts to split up, right? You've been hiking with groups and they eventually split up. And so trying to decide like who's shooting who and like who's going where. So when we're, if one team is pulling away, right, I'm staying with the quote unquote the slower team. Um, Only because like I've been to the top, right? And Isabella hadn't. And so that was another sort of like thing to keep in mind that Isabella was also experiencing Mexico, through like Josue's eyes through this big mountain experience. So if she has the opportunity to like go up to the top, like I think she really wanted that. So like sending her off to the top with like the faster team, um, being consistent, um, with like shooting and stuff like that. Yeah, was a lot. I think we were really nervous about our batteries because so much you start in the dark, right? You've been up there, so how to make that interesting also provided a challenge. Um, but of course, each team member's stories, I think is gonna enthrall the audience way more than like a foot going over a rock, you know what I mean?
Well, so looks like a good expedition for filming as well. We are talking about a documentary, so we have to work in the progress, no? We don't
Yeah,
have a line like yeah, we made it this the summit, or yes, film like this, or put it like that. No, it's not like a film. It's like a documentary. So the documentary is alive. So
exactly.
it's we're going to see that in Cineteca Nacional este 22 y 23 de octubre del 2025. De una vez hacemos la invitación aquí para que todos los que están en la ciudad nos puedan visitar. Across Together, The Return Expeditions in Nuevo México, Albuquerque. What next with this documentary?
What next? It is premiering in New York in 2 weeks at the New York Latino Film Festival. We're really excited about that. Just like we're excited to be a part of the Mexican Outdoor Film Festival. Um, yeah, we want people to see like our stories in a different way. I think maybe the poster is supposed to, make you think a little, right? You don't really, you've seen a poster with like a guy, like an alpinist guy, but have you ever, but Josue is holding like the rope a little more tenderly and he's like thinking. And so like what curiosity does that bring to the audience member? Hopefully that brings them in to watch the film and to remain curious about every one of the characters that they meet, right? Josue is sort of like the hook, but each team member has their own story that we just barely scratched the surface of, and I think that's what's really cool about a documentary like this. We only see like a flash of somebody's true personhood, and hopefully people will want to learn more.
Yeah, exactly. So right now we are talking about these childs or these young people whose his her or his lives was difficult. So right now in 2025, we see a lot of movements about the government, the United States governments, about ICE, about documentary, about all these kind of situations to promote regulation of the people in the United States, but as well in Mexico, as well in Canada. Remember that we were going to celebrate in three countries the World Cup of football. So I think there is a lot of money, a lot of interest in the world to be part of this big, huge event. So calm down, all the things come together. And if we talk as a community right now, until we are prepared to go to the mountain or not, we can share this information, and you can follow us in Mexico Outdoor Film Festival, or you can follow us, Junior, if you can share your address in the social media.
Yeah, it's underscore June Air. Um, it's way easier to say than J.R. Rodriguez with no vowels. I don't think people like doing puzzles when I give him my Instagram
Don't worry, we're going to put it in
down in there. Sweet.
of the video. Uh, Junior, anything else that you can share with the people?
Uh, this film's pretty loaded, and I think everyone will find something that interests them, whether it's the outdoors, whether it's immigration policy, whether it's the healing power of nature, whether it's climate change, whether it's like, damn, like I miss my mom and dad, like extraño mi familia y cómo los veo. I think it just, that's what makes a person, right? A person when you watch a film isn't just like a one line, we're not one-liners, and I think th this film will be a little a little bit more rounded in showing who these young people are.
Yeah, exactly. This confrontation about his reality. Junior Rodríguez, thank you very much. Muchísimas
Gracias a
gracias.
ustedes, Jorge.
Seguimos en contacto, no nos despedimos y nos vemos el 22 y 23 de octubre en la Cineteca Nacional, donde podemos tener la presencia, por supuesto, de directores como Junior Rodríguez y documentales justamente como Across Together, The Return Expedition. Muchas gracias por participar, Junior, y seguimos al tanto.
Gracias a ustedes.